There are moments in life that don't arrive loudly or dramatically, yet settle deep inside you, quiet and still, carrying a weight you only understand much later. That morning was one of them. It felt ordinary, yet carried something unspoken beneath it, shifting gently. Something I couldn't name, but felt all the same. Mother gone for work, her presence lingering faintly. The house wrapped in a quiet that felt almost sacred until he walked in, not abruptly, but with his usual calm presence. Dressed simply, traces of mourning still in his hair and movement. When he noticed me, a small pause. Then he smiled, a simple gesture that lingered, stretching the space between us. And when he spoke, even his voice felt different, softer, slower, like it carried something beneath the surface. I answered back as normally as I could, focusing on the routine, yet aware of something shifting inside me. Not fear, not discomfort, but awareness. A quiet realization that I was being seen in a way I hadn't been before. That feeling stayed with me long after, following me through the morning as we sat across from each other, exchanging simple words that felt heavier than they should have. His attention steady yet unreadable, his presence calm yet somehow charged. I found myself noticing small things I hadn't paid attention to before. The way he listened, the way he paused before speaking. The way silence between us didn't feel empty, but full of something waiting to be understood. As the days passed, that feeling didn't disappear. It grew slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a quiet shift in the rhythm of the house. Especially as my mother's schedule kept her away more often, leaving the two of us alone in a space that felt both familiar and different. Where conversations stretched longer, silences lingered deeper, and small interactions carried an unexpected weight. A brush of hands that lasted just a second too long, a glance that didn't immediately look away. Moments subtle they could be dismissed, yet impossible to ignore once I acknowledged them. I told myself again and again that I was imagining it, reading too much into ordinary things. But the truth was, something was changing, not suddenly, but steadily, like a quiet tide rising beneath the surface. I began to notice how aware I had become of him, of his presence in the room, of the way he seemed to notice me too. Not in a way that felt inappropriate or overwhelming, but attentive, intentional, as if the smallest things I did held meaning. That awareness started to reflect back on me, changing how I moved, how I spoke, how I existed in that space. Until one evening, in the stillness of the house, that unspoken tension finally found words. Not rushed or forceful, but hesitant, careful, as if he himself didn't fully trust what he was about to say. When he spoke about loneliness, about distance that can exist even within a life that looks complete from the outside, I felt something in me respond before I could stop it, a recognition I hadn't expected. Without planning to, I shared my own quiet sense of not belonging, a feeling like I was present but not entirely rooted. In that shared vulnerability, something shifted again, something deeper this time, as if we had crossed into something more honest, more real. When his hand rested gently over mine, it wasn't sudden or forceful, just a simple gesture, but it carried a warmth that felt grounding. In that moment, I understood that this wasn't about something obvious or easily defined. It was about connection, about being understood. That realization stayed with me long after that night, echoing through my thoughts, making it impossible to return to the way things had been. Because once something is seen clearly, it can't be unseen. And as much as I questioned it, I couldn't deny that part of me was drawn to that clarity, even if it complicated everything else. And when the distance between us finally closed in a quiet, deliberate way, it didn't feel like a sudden fall into something reckless, but rather like the natural continuation of something that had been building all along. A moment defined not by intensity, but by stillness, by awareness, by the understanding that we were both stepping into something we couldn't fully explain, yet couldn't deny. And in that space, stripped of expectation and pretense, what remained was something simple and undeniable. The feeling of being seen, truly seen, without the need to hide or pretend. And that feeling, more than anything else, was what changed everything. Because it reached deeper than logic, deeper than right or wrong, touching something fundamental and human. Something that didn't ask for permission but simply existed, and once it existed, it couldn't be ignored. Only faced, only understood, only carried forward in whatever way it demanded, leaving behind a quiet truth that lingered long after the moment itself had passed, shaping everything that came after in ways I was only beginning to understand.